Hi everyone, and welcome to There's No Such Thing as Normal, a podcast about neurodiversity, disability, and mental health. I'm Lou, your host, and I'm neurodivergent myself, and I'm also completely blind. So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about journaling for mental health and well-being. So, what it is, how you can do it, the benefits of it, and also how I use it myself and how it benefits me and my mental health. So, let's get started with what is journaling. I'm sure a lot of you will have heard of it, but what does it actually involve? Well, it's actually quite straightforward, really, because it simply involves writing down your thoughts, feelings, and ideas. It's getting your thoughts and everything just out of your head and onto paper or onto an app or whatever you're using. It's about just flowing with your inner thoughts and I don't know what the best word is, but your inner flow of thoughts, just going with it, writing whatever comes up, just getting it out there. There's no right or wrong way of journaling. There's no worries about making mistakes because it's just for you. And a lot of people don't even read their journals, or they will, if it's paper, then they'll burn them or they'll tear them up, or, if it's on an app, then you can delete them. It's not as if you're going to go back to them. So, there's no worries about spellings or, if you're handwriting, then you don't need to worry about it being messy. You don't need to worry about making mistakes. It's just literally whatever's in your head, writing it down, whether it's a problem you're facing, whether it's a persistent worry, whether it's worries about the future or something that's on your mind. If you can't sleep, you've got too many ideas, and you don't have to just journal about the bad things either, because even if you're really happy, you can write, I'm really happy because, and then why, and writing about that and what you're grateful for. So that's basically it. But the benefits, which I've sort of slightly gone into but not really, with talking about that, one of the benefits, the biggest benefits especially I've found, is finding clarity. So often our minds are so busy and chaotic, and we have so much going on in our heads that it's hard to get a clear picture of what's actually going on. But when you write things down, things do become more organized and more straightforward and not as chaotic. It gives you that sense of clear direction of where you are, where your thoughts are, what's going on. It can also help you to understand how you're feeling right now, maybe what's going on, and as you write more and more about something, it sort of evolves and unravels, and you sort of get more clues and come to, this brings us on to the next one, lots of different conclusions. So it can help you with problem solving, because if you're writing about whatever it is, you're getting the clarity, you're getting the understanding. It can then help you to solve problems, but also can help you overcome particular anxious thoughts, because writing them down, again, does just feel really good as a release. And again, it's cathartic, which basically means it feels like a release and you're letting something go. It feels as if you're taking this weight off your shoulders and putting it somewhere else, because it's letting go of what's in your mind, because our minds are so full and busy. We need to let it out somewhere, because we end up feeling a lot of the times as if we're going to explode because we have so much going on in there. So just writing it down is so beneficial, and it does just help. So it can help with your overall emotional well-being. It can help if in particular situations where you might be particularly anxious or overwhelmed, maybe overstimulated, you've got negative thought patterns, negative loops going on, you're stressed, you're struggling to sleep. It can help with that. Journaling before bed is a really good way of sleeping, because all those thoughts that are swirling around your mind, keeping you up, you can even, keep something next to you, like a pen and paper, or somewhere to write things down in the night, but that's kind of a different thing altogether, but it does relate to this. It can help with self-confidence, because you can, particular journaling exercises do involve writing about your own strengths and your own achievements, so that can improve our sense of self. It can increase our happiness and our gratitude because we can write about what we're grateful for, what we're happy about, lots of different things like that. It also encourages rational thinking, and again, if you're using this for anxiety and if you've got a particular anxious thought, when you're journaling, the act of writing engages your brain, and it actually engages the parts of the brain that become deactivated when we're stressed. So our thinking brain, which is switched off by stress and overwhelming feelings, is then switched back on as we start to write about them, because of course it takes a lot of cognitive energy to write. So we're basically getting our brains back online and can help us to think more rationally. There's just loads of benefits, really. So, all this sounds great, but where do I start? What do I do? How do I do it? Well, it really does depend. I think for me personally, and we're all different, but this is something that helps me. It really helps to have a prompt, because especially if you're maybe stressed and you're going to be sitting there thinking, well, journaling would help, but I don't know what to write. I don't have any ideas what to write. And that's when a prompt is really useful. So it's basically just a question that will say, for example, what's going well today? How are you feeling? What's lifting your mood? What's bringing you down? What are you looking forward to in the week ahead? Or what was one thing you learnt today? Or who is one person that makes you more confident? Or I don't know, just loads of different things like that. So then again, where do you get these prompts from? Well, I actually use an app, and the app is called Finch, spelt Finch, and it's free. It does have a premium membership, but it's all about well-being. But I'm going to do a different episode on Finch because it's really useful. But one of the features on there is a reflections area. So you go on there and it's got basically an endless supply of questions which basically get you thinking about what you might like to write about. So yeah, it'll ask you about your day. It might ask you about your past or future, or there's different tabs for different types of reflections. So having that is really useful, because if I want to do some journaling, I will turn to Finch straight away, especially if I'm stressed. There's not really much hope of me sitting there and thinking, oh, what do I write? So I go on there, and whatever it will ask me, you can just scroll through, see what feels right. So having an app, I would highly recommend. But again, you can just completely, go free and wake up in the morning or whenever and just write literally as your stream of thoughts come in, just writing down whatever comes, and that's completely fine as well. As I said, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. And again, if you struggle to write or typing or anything like that, you can speak into it. So I do a lot of my journaling just using dictation on my phone. So I'll be on Finch and I'll just literally speak into my phone, and it will then, obviously you'd want to do that somewhere private if you're, talking about private stuff. But again, you can write on paper, on an app, you can speak, you can basically do it any way you like. And I think one of the big things is to be consistent. And it's all good and well me saying this, but even I still have to work on this. It's something that really helps me, but again, we do tend to forget the things that help. But maybe setting aside some time. I tend to do most of my journaling at the end of the day, because I like to reflect on the day and what's happened, maybe what I've enjoyed, what's not been so good. So for me, the end of the day works well. But for others, you might want to be doing it first thing in the morning, and sometimes I do as well. So there's not really a right or wrong time, but it's thinking, when would I benefit? But also you can just, of course, do it any time of day or night when you need to get some stuff off your mind. And yeah, I don't know, I think for me it's really helpful. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me to have a clearer mind. It kind of gives you a sense of release, a sense of accomplishment. Oh, I've written about this and it feels less big now that I've written about it, and I feel just lighter and happier. And as I say, even just reflecting on what I'm grateful for at the end of each day, or why I'm happy in the morning, and it makes you realize these things, good or bad, that have an impact on your mood. So you then end up learning more about yourself as well. What makes you happy, what makes you unhappy, what makes you stressed, and what makes you calm. And I think writing about it and tapping into that sense of who we are and what things make us feel a certain way is quite important, because we don't really do much of that, and everyday life doesn't give us those opportunities we need to be, exploring ourselves and really getting to know ourselves in that way. And yeah, for me, journaling really gives me that space and that outlet. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not for everyone, and again, that's fine. So it completely depends on you and your situation, but for me it really helps, and I'd recommend it for anyone really who's, I think we'd all benefit from it, even if you don't necessarily struggle regularly with mental health or anxiety. Just in general, I think it can be quite useful. So there you go, really. That is journaling and what it is, how it helps me, and why you should give it a go. But yeah, it's always up to you whether you do or not, but I highly recommend it, and maybe after listening you feel inspired to try it. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back very soon.